Welcome back. Today we are talking about the barriers that are keeping you from taking action towards your dream life.
Only thing in the way of your dreams is taking action. So today you will have over 15 tools. So many. Chloe just kept giving extra ones on how to overcome the 4 most common barriers to action that we have found in our clients and in ourselves. So stick around to the end so that you get all of those and a secret surprise at the end, an announcement maybe that something Chloe and I are working on. That's called foreshadowing, people. See you on the inside. What's up, party peeps? We're back. Just Chloe and I today for a host-only conversation. Today we're talking about barriers to taking action, something that we're both very excited about, especially with Action Academy coming live soon, which is a joint project Chloe and I are working on. So we're excited to dive in.
Yes, hello everyone. Welcome. This is going to be a really fun, highly applicable episode. So buckle up.
All right, so let's just get right into it. The top 4 things that we have seen in our work with high achievers, with survivors of trauma, with people with ADHD, all the stuff that we do is number 1 barrier is nervous system dysregulation. Number 2 is a lack of clarity. Number 3 is under baggage, the stuff, the invisible stuff. And then number 4 is not having simple systems, processes, routines, and things like that that support consistent action. So that's what we're hitting on today. The first barrier that we hit on is close to both Chloe and I's heart, which is nervous system regulation. So lay the stage, lay the groundwork of why this is a barrier to action if you're dysregulated.
Okay, well, basically, your nervous system is responsible for your fight or flight response. And I always think of the nervous system as a vessel or as a cup. And so if your nervous system is dysregulated, you're going to be able to hold very little because everything will stress you out, everything will feel overwhelming. And when you think of it as a survival response also, so imagine if you are running from a bear or a tiger and you are in sympathetic state, your mind and body isn't going to be worried about focusing, committing things to memory, creativity. All your body cares about is escaping and surviving. And so many of us live in this sympathetic state as if we're constantly being chased by a bear. And in that state, we are just not productive. Very often you can freeze, or you're just revving high cortisol, which is horrible for your body over the long term. And you just can't access these ultra creative flow states. So what we want to do is create safety in the body. And the more safety that you can create in the body, the more you expand this vessel and the more that you can hold. But you can also tap into these states of flow and creativity and problem solving with a regulated nervous system.
Hell yeah. The baseline from a neuroscience perspective, a nervous system is made to take action. When you get dysregulated, that changes. But your base state is to take bold, consistent, clear, courageous action. That is your base state. When you get dysregulated, that's clouded, bottom line. So, okay, then give us a tool. For each of these, we're going to both give a tool. So give a tool for nervous system regulation. What's your favorite nervous system regulation tool that people could use today?
Okay, really simply, when you get to your desk and you look at your task list and the alarm starts to go off and you're like, this is incredibly overwhelming. I can't handle this. My favorite tool is called the BBB method. And because you can't very often think your way into a regulated nervous system, you have to feel your way. So first we start with the body. So bring yourself back into the body. Have a warm cup of tea. I really like butterfly tapping for this. So you basically place your hands on your chest like this, and you alternate tapping on one side of the chest. And it just gently brings you back into the body. And then you can add breath. So I like to just focus on extending the exhale. Do that for a few minutes. Now you're calm, now you're regulated. And then you can change the brain. That's the third B. So body, breath, brain. And then I like to say an empowering affirmation, like I've got this is going to be easy, this is helping me create my dream life. And that's basically how I get my nervous system regulated when I sit down and I feel like everything's chaotic and I don't know how I'm going to get it all done.
I love that. I love that it hits body, brain, body, breath, and brain. My bad.
Body, breath,
I like that. Yeah. We're going to talk about baggage and parts here in a second. But the thing for me is getting out of this shutdown state. It's something called the essential sequence. It's how to move your nervous system from shutdown to stress to calm aliveness, or your normal restful state if you will. The simple thought process is a shutdown nervous system needs safety. So some of the stuff that Chloe's talking about, grounding yourself, is the first step. So it could be the BBB process, sensory cues like warm tea, a weighted blanket, gentle rocking, breath work like Chloe also mentioned. That's why I love all the things you just mentioned in that BBB method help you move out of shutdown. So that's beautiful. When you move out of shutdown, the next stage is stress. You'll move back into an activated nervous system because paradoxically, your nervous system goes from calm to stress to shutdown. And to get back to calm, you have to go from shutdown to stress to calm. And so after you get safety in the shutdown, you'll move back to stress, which feels weird for people. But this is where you need support. You need validation that you're not going backwards. This is how your nervous system works. You have to follow the sequence. So that's one of the first things, is realize that you're going to feel more stressed and more activated after shutdown. That's normal. That's how your nervous system works. And then regulation tools, again, like Chloe just demonstrated, it's a great one to help you calm down your nervous system. One of my favorites is the Apollo. I don't know if everybody's can see this or whatever, but it's just a little device that Chloe and I use. It vibrates, turns on at different points of the day, and can bring you out of that stress state using touch therapy, vibration therapy. It's awesome. I love it. And then calm aliveness is the last stage, when you finally get to the actual like chill, safe part of your nervous system. You can actually then start to do things where you're having conversations. Coaching and therapy can work more effectively. You can start to dissect your thoughts. You can do the ants to pets, like more of the cognitive tools start to work at that point. So the essential sequence, moving from shutdown to stress to calm aliveness, I think is one of the most powerful tools that you can use in your arsenal overall. So I feel like yours was a very acute tactical thing, and mine was like a strategic big picture thing. So that's kind of perfect, I feel like.
Exactly.
I love that. All right, sweetness. So those are two tools that you can use for nervous system regulation. Chloe and I both have tons of nervous system regulation tools, more in-depth tools if you want to look at those. Check out the description. Barrier number 2 is a lack of clarity. So when you're feeling cluttered and you're feeling like you don't really know what's going on, talk to us about that.
So what really helped me is going through my task list and ranking things by priority, but also energy level. Because I have ADHD, and very often my energy levels fluctuate, and sometimes something might be really important, but it takes so much energy that I sit there and I'm like, I can't imagine accomplishing this today, but maybe tomorrow I'll have one of those days where I have tons of energy and these bigger, harder tasks feel a lot more doable.
Nice.
Yeah, and then I use our 3M 1M method, which is my absolute favorite. Going through your entire task list and finding the 3 most important tasks you must do. And of those 3 tasks, the number 1 most important task, which will either make everything else feel easier, will just move you farther along in life, in business, or something that just takes a huge weight off of your shoulders. And as long as I do that one thing, then I can feel like that day was successful.
I love that. That's beautiful. Mine is getting clarity. I mean, which sounds ridiculous, but getting specific is huge. So often people come to me with problems. They're stuck in inaction. They're not being decisive. They're telling me, well, I'm anxious. I was like, okay. It's not a very specific problem at all. Like, what do you mean you're anxious? Are you anxious when you're public speaking? Are you anxious with your partner? Are you anxious in social settings? Are you anxious about being in elevators? What do you mean you're anxious? Tell me more about that. And getting super specific on the problem, and then also getting super specific on the dream outcome. Okay. What if you're showing up in an anxious way currently? What's the way you really want to show up? Calm, cool, collected, confident, courageous. Okay, perfect. In what setting? And get more specific with the dream outcome that you have in relation to the problem or challenge that you're facing. And then getting super specific with the problem or challenge as well, so that you can solve that. Specific problems have specific solutions. General problems have general solutions that don't help you and just keep you stuck and paralyzed. The more specific you get, the more obvious and easy the action becomes, though. And that's why I think clarity is so freaking important when it comes to taking action. So getting specific is one of the best ways to get to action. And then I think your tool is perfect for when it's time to take action. Which of those actions is the most important? Which is the one that will take you the furthest, fastest, and make everything else less needed? So beautiful combination. It's almost as if we run an academy on action together or something. I couldn't help myself. I'm sorry.
Oh, that was a really shameless plug.
That was a shameless plug. But no, it's beautiful. I think this is huge. Clarity is a huge one. I see people come up against all the time. They're just so unclear on what's in their way or what they even want.
Yeah.
They don't
I
even
think
know what they want.
And it's really important to constantly connect to your why, because there's going to be always 1,000 things that you need to do. And you realistically don't have time due to every single thing. So being really clear on what's most important to you and where you want to go.
Yes, couldn't agree more. All right. Third barrier to action is baggage. So I'll lay the groundwork for this one a little bit. Baggage is the invisible stuff. This is the stuff I work with achievers, and they never want to admit this, but they stay stuck in the same spot over and over and over again. A lot of it, I will admit, is shame-based. So they're driven by toxic shame, and a goal driven by shame will never feel like it's enough. Some of it can be driven by trauma. Maybe you have an abandonment wound. Maybe you have a worthiness wound, right? And if you always feel unworthy, or you feel like love is conditional or acceptance is conditional, you will struggle no matter what. No matter what mountain you get to the top of, it will not be enough. Okay? So that's baggage. Right? And it filters our ability to achieve things, think things, feel things, believe things. Our past baggage is what is driving all of those things. And so it gets in the way, if you will. With my tool, I'll explain why that mentality of it being in your way is maybe not the most helpful, but that's what baggage is. Anything you'd add to what it is or the groundwork of this barrier.
I think it's really important to know that a lot of us take action from our subconscious and our identity and these baggage patterns. 99% of our actions actually come from our subconscious mind and not out of our conscious mind.
Exactly.
So it's really important to work through the trauma and also the identity, because you'll also take action from a specific identity. If you believe that you're not good enough, you're not worthy, I can't focus, then your actions are going to reflect that. So it's really important to work on those things that are lying underneath that are driving your behavior.
Couldn't agree more. So in relation to baggage, what's your tool for baggage? What do you suggest?
I'm always very pro therapy. But
Let's
if you're
go.
wanting to, for a tool to rewire the subconscious mind or release old programming or heal through trauma, if you want to do something on your own, my favorite thing of all time, and I talk about this constantly and I will not stop talking about it, is EFT tapping. Because you are calming the nervous system and then rewiring thought patterns at the same time.
Hell yeah. I love that. Give a basic explanation of what EFT tapping is and how it helps people get into action.
Yeah, so EFT tapping, basically what you're doing is you're tapping on these energy meridian points. So very similar to in Chinese medicine, how there's acupuncture points. It's the same points. They correlate with certain nerve endings. So when you tap on them, you can feel calm. There's a release of serotonin in your body. When you increase serotonin, learning and neuroplasticity also increases. And so also, this rhythmic movement is very calming on the nervous system. So what you can do is tap on a statement, something that's maybe very, very charged for you. Let's do one that I'm struggling with right now, that we had a podcast episode last week, and it just hit the nail on the head so hard for me. He told us about the fear of insignificance, and I never had that before. And so I have a core wound where I tie my self-worth to my productivity. And so I know that I'm trying
Twinsies.
So I have a fear of insignificance, a deep fear of insignificance, and
Same.
I tie my self-worth to productivity. Even this week, I've felt a little bit under the weather, and last week I did like an 80-hour work week. This week I'm like a normal person, and I'm feeling such extreme guilt and shame around that. So I'll give a demonstration of how I'm tapping through that currently. Even though I'm feeling guilt around not accomplishing enough, I completely love and accept myself. I acknowledge that's just a part of me. That's not truly who I am. And so you just tap on this and say statements like that, like, I am open and willing to release the part of me that feels shame around not accomplishing enough. And you keep tapping until your nervous system calms down and that feeling releases. And then you plug in positive, empowering thoughts. And this is where you combine nervous system work and affirmation work. So then I'll tap on, I am enough and worthy as I am, no matter how much I accomplish or how little I accomplish. I am always worthy. Saying really, I call all of my power back now. And as you tap, you will find your energy increases. You'll feel really empowered. And this is a really great way to work through some of those, really challenging thought patterns that are coming up.
I love that. That's beautiful. Similar to Chloe, I have a 3-letter acronym as well, IFS, that I use. Internal family systems is the tool that I would suggest for baggage. It's what I do when I work with people. It's what I'm trained in. Chloe mentioned in her language just now, a part of her ties her success or productivity to her worth. IFS takes that very seriously. that it is a part of Chloe that feels that way. It's a part of Cody that feels that way. And that parts language is one of the most powerful tools, in my opinion, just to start working with baggage, is to start to understand a part of me feels anxious. A part of me feels like it must achieve to be loved, right? And just understanding that it is a young part of you that learned that when you were in a moment where that might have been true in that moment when you were that young, to keep you safe. However, you're older now. So working with that protective part of you, and helping it understand, first of all, becoming aware of it through the language and starting a dialogue with it. The EFT tapping is a great way to start that language or start that conversation potentially. But you can also just talk to these parts and name them. I have different names for all of my anxiety's name is Mamba. Like I have anger is Jerry. Like I have tons of different parts and tons of different names. You don't have to name them, but you can. It helps have a conversation and just start to talk to it like it is a child, a scared child. And what would you say to a scared child? And start to have that dialogue and that conversation with it, and start to understand what's afraid would happen if it didn't do its job, is a really great way to start to work with this baggage, and start to work with these parts, and not looking at them, not pathologizing them. They are young little children that are hurt, scared, and worried and trying to protect you. They just don't know you're older now. And so that's why baggage, people don't understand parts. Like if I were to say parts, people don't get that. They get baggage. I don't like the word baggage though, personally, if I'm being honest, because it feels like it's pathologizing, or it feels like it's like a negative thing when these parts are not. There are no bad parts. They're just parts that are trying to protect you, and you can work with them and help them release their grip on you and your behavior by working with them and uncovering who you really are, which is yourself, like your calm, connected, clear, confident self. So that's my that's my tip as far as working with baggage, is name it and start talking to it and realize it's a part of you. It's not you, it's a part of you. So I think those are two really powerful tools, ones that we talk about more in depth in Action Academy, but that's like a high level overview, I feel like, of EFT and IFS. Anything else you'd add?
Yeah, actually, one more thing I would love to add is just start questioning your beliefs.
Yeah.
When you have a limiting belief come up, like, oh, I'm not good enough, or I'm not pretty enough, or fast enough, smart, whatever your flavor of I'm not enough is, just question and be like, is that true? How do I actually know that's really true? For an example, in the ADHD space, I come across people constantly that say, I can't focus. And I always say, well, give me an example of a time that you could focus, because people with ADHD can hyper-focus. And they'll have a ton of examples. And I'm like, see, you can focus. You just can't sometimes direct your focus. And so it's really helpful to question that language. And then when it comes up, when that thought, I can't focus, comes up, you can actually just start to soften that belief by asking, okay, is that actually true? No, it's not true, because I've proven to myself that there are times I can focus. And then so it just starts to soften that belief.
I like that. Cognitive appraisal. That's a good one. Catching the ants. The other thing too in that moment is a part of you can't focus, and interjecting that language can be really powerful, which takes it away from being about who you are, Chloe can't focus, to a part of Chloe can't focus.
Yeah.
So, because yourself can focus.
That's what I call
Right.
a monkey.
Perfect. I love that. That's great. That's perfect. That part of you, that monkey part of you that can't focus, is just that, a part of you. And that not being able to focus kept you safe at one point. I guarantee it. If we dove into it, we should do that. We should do a live session one day.
Oh, let's do a live session. Yes. Okay. Next.
With an
next time we'll do a
ADHD
live
part.
live. Okay.
Deal. I like that. All right. The last thing that prevents people from taking action, the last barrier, is not having simple systems, processes, and routines that support consistent action. So this is a little bit even more of a tactical tool, but it's just people start to fail. Like you fall to the level of your habits, is something James Clear talks about. That's what we're talking about here, is having simple tools and tips and practices and routines that make consistent action easy. So I know you have thousands of these, especially in your ebook, which is awesome, by the way, Biohacking ADHD. Another shameless plug for Chloe, but there's tons of stuff in there. Yeah, I know. I did it for you though, so that's different. But any tool that sticks out to you as like your go-to for consistent action?
Well, I talked about the 3M1M beforehand. I think it's really important to get these dopamine hits, because getting a dopamine hit will drive motivation. So like Cody said, having a routine is really important. I always suggest to people have 2 routines, a high energy routine and a low energy routine. These routines get you to immediately take action. You get a quick hit of dopamine, and then you can usually flow into work a lot more easier. And so have one high energy day where you have like an hour, maybe you have all these like steps and processes. Have a low energy one where you're like, as long as I do this one thing, I feel like it's the bare minimum to feel like I've had a good day. Maybe that's journaling, maybe that's breath work, maybe that's just taking a shower, what have you. But it also triggers your brain that, okay, it's time to focus now.
That's freaking amazing. High energy and low energy. Like, I have routines for all sorts of things, but I've never necessarily thought about them in that context. I guess I think of MVPs. MVP, I guess, would be my low energy example, like minimum vital production, like the minimum thing I could do. But I like that. That's a great one. That's a great tool. My tool is more of kind of like a tool, almost like a mindset around action. I've just found that people get paralyzed in taking action because they think it's one thing. And so they start to fear failure and they start to think, oh, I have to do this perfectly. Otherwise I'll never get another chance. And so the tool I like for action is breaking it into the action cycle where it's a circle of act, assess, adjust, over and over and over again, which is like the scientific method, but applied to real life, if you will, because you're just constantly taking the action. Then you assess, how did that go? Did it go well? Did it not go well? We do this with content all the time. And then making any adjustments. Oh, that didn't go so well. I tried to talk to that person at the gym and they didn't want to talk to me. I tried to wave at them and they waved back. Okay, maybe and you're just constantly always acting, assessing, and adjusting and taking another action, which keeps you in the action cycle and doesn't paralyze you. So instead of failure, it's feedback. There's no failure. It's just feedback. It's a feedback cycle that you're always getting. And you can't fail if you're in the action cycle. The only way you can fail is to not take action. So I think the action cycle is definitely the tool that I would suggest to people overall.
I love this. And I have like another mindset to add on top of that. 2 things, because taking action and doing something is just going to collect you data. There's no win or lose. It's just data information. And then you can assess and adjust. And then zooming out beyond that is there's actually no good or bad things in life. Like, everything in life is neutral. You are the one that gives things meaning. And so whether or not you're spiritual or you believe in whether things are meant to be, maybe getting fired from your job at that moment in time could be the worst possible scenario that you could imagine. But actually, you don't know what's coming next, and maybe you're going to get another job that pays you way more, or that's going to force you into being an entrepreneur where you 10x your income and you are way happier. And so you just don't know whether something is actually good or bad. So sometimes if something doesn't work out, that's actually a blessing. Like I always say, rejection is protection.
I like that. It reminds me of the parable of the farmer, the maybe. I don't know if you heard that, where, yeah, it kind of reminds me of that. Like, nothing's good or bad. It's just like a maybe. Well, maybe it's good, maybe it's not. We'll see. That's my mantra, is like, we'll see. That's been helping me a lot recently with some of the stuff I've been going through personally, as Chloe knows. But yeah, that's I love that mindset. All right, sweet. So those are the 4 barriers to action and a couple tools that you can use to help you get out of your own way. We often are in our own way, especially when it comes to taking action. It's way easier than you think it is. I challenge you to think of one thing that one goal, one area of your life that you are stuck, you feel stuck, or you haven't taken action in. Find one tiny little baby step forward that you could take and go do that today. That's my challenge to you today. And be sure to like and subscribe to the Decision Lab so that you can get more conversations like this from Chloe and I. And thank y'all for hopping on today. Any final thoughts from you, Chloe?
Yeah, 2 things I want to leave you with is, number 1, be compassionate with yourself. You're a human being. You are doing the absolute best thing that you can. And also celebrate your wins. That will help you to take more action. Very often we're chasing these things in life and then we hit this target and it becomes a never-ending goalpost. So make sure that as you are moving through life, celebrate all the small wins.
Hell yeah. Celebrate the wins and the hard work you put towards it, especially like the process that you went through, not just the outcome as well. So that's beautiful. I like that. All right, sweet. Hope this was a great little action 101 guide for everyone. If you're interested in how to take action, bold action, the only thing between you and your dreams is action. Surprise, surprise. Check out the Action Academy. We'll put a link in below. It's a community. The first 100 members are free. After that, it's $22 a month, but it's all things action, barriers to action, and help people achieve their dreams. So we're pumped to be launching that soon. So click the link below if you're interested.
It's going to be so much fun. We're going to have all the nervous system regulation tools for getting hits of dopamine to get your work done. It's going to be a fun community. We're going to help you get organized. We're going to help you take action. And we're going to do that in a way that is aligned and it's fun.
Hell yeah. Fun, most importantly. So I'm pumped. And be sure, subscribe to Decision Lab, people. If you're not already on YouTube, please do. And DM us. If you have questions, comments, concerns, let us know. But otherwise, thank you so much for your time, everyone. Have an awesome rest of your day. Peace.
Bye.